dear Bagginses and Boffins.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about something that slipped past my radar for many, many years, but apparently the Fellowship of the Ring's emotional ending wasn't written until very late in production.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah, so I didn't realize this. I mean, in the books, as many viewers will probably know, obviously Sam and Frodo do go off on their own and separate from the Fellowship, but I guess the scene in question is the one in which Sean Astin wades into the water as Frodo is trying to cross the river in his boat, and Sam almost drowns. I think that's the scene that they were trying to get the emotional beat just right, and then we get one of the many, but of the many, one of the most iconic speeches that Sam gives. I made a promise, Mr. Frodo, a promise. And I think people tear up when they see that scene. I know I do. What do you think? I mean, this seems like Peter Jackson is his MO is kind of like this. We hear a lot of these sort of stories about him writing these scenes super late, just to find that perfect emotional beat.
How to get it exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like he's got a feeling in the moment. So he's been doing other scenes, other things, and then he's got to buckle down and say, okay, what's going to happen here? And that's when he comes up with some of these great scenes that I think would hurt the movie if they weren't in it, because we're coming off of a battle at this point in Fellowship, after a battle that is taken place, and Boromir is, spoiler alerts, Boromir is dying in this moment, and
Frodo and Sam are unaware of this.
Frodo and Sam are unaware of this, and so we can't just end with them just like lollygagging across the river. Well, I mean, you could, but it would be missing something. And I think that's potentially why it took so long to figure out just how to get this scene just right. And I want to show, I sent it to you earlier, I want to show everyone here, I'm going to put it up on the screen, where they mimic a shot from this scene that they wrote, where in this scene, you have Frodo reaching down and saving Sam from drowning. He's reaching over the boat into the water. And then on the flip side, at the end of their long journey, we have Sam reaching over the cliffs into the fires of Mount Doom and grabbing Frodo's hand and pulling him back up, which I think is just that is something really cool that I hadn't noticed before until I started taking a look at this scene more closely. And I think that's just phenomenal, and that's potentially why, as I believe you pointed out, they did make a small change to the finger that was removed by Gollum from the books to the film, and it potentially was to get this shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it sounds like a little bit of a chaotic mess when it comes to certain scenes, and if you read this article, you can see that Sean Astin says that they would be called into these meetings and be handed brand new scenes that they had never seen before, and they were emotional scenes, and so keep them on their toes, I guess, is Peter Jackson's directing strategy.
Every day we would get new pages with small changes, big changes, prop changes, location changes, whatever Astin said, and you tried to read them, but at a certain point there's just too much. So
well, and just before we wrap up this one, that's also why in the big council meeting of Elrond in Rivendell, when Boromir delivers his speech, Sean Bean is glancing down with his hand on his head, because he has been just given the speech. He's never seen it before. And And so we have a whole bunch of those things, and Sean Bean makes it work. He like you don't even notice it until someone tells you that. He goes with it, and it actually becomes a part of his character. But it's just those kind of moments where you get these. Some of my favorite scenes, turns out, were written last moment, right before they started shooting that scene. So
I
it's just
didn't
kind of
know
fun.
that either. So he's that whole meme of him. One does not simply. He's
Yeah.
looking down.
There's a
He's
piece of
actually
paper
he's
on his
actually
knee.
very he's actually very frustrated in that moment.
Yeah, he's very frustrated. Like one does not simply go to a Peter Jackson film and just get a script. But yeah, I thought this was kind of neat. I just wanted to throw it up there as we embark on our breakdown of Fellowship. And yeah, I'm not surprised that all of my favorite scenes are written last minute, just the way Peter Jackson works.
I regret to announce this is the end. I bid you all a very fond farewell.